It's kit review time once again, and this time we've got a cider kit. It's summer, I need some cider, but I'm bored of doing the turbo ciders and whatnot, and I've just discovered that you can get these Mangrove Jacks Craft Series Premium Brewery Pouch Cider Kits. I purchased this from Brew UK and thought I'd give it a go. I didn't go for just the plain apple, I went with a strawberry and pear. Get that to focus in on that. And at first I was a little unsure that I had everything I needed with it. You do need an additional kilo of brewing sugar, but I was wondering where the actual yeast comes into it. But I'm led to believe that once you cut this open, everything you need is inside. So I'm just going to slip this over with some sterilised scissors and we'll see. And there's the pouch is divided into two. There's kind of a little segregation. One side's dry and one side's got the concentrated juice in it. So we also get a packet of strawberry and pear cider flavouring, our Craft Series yeast, and some sweetener. And there's a little instruction on there for guidelines of dry, off dry or sweet. And then our instructions, which are pretty much the basic instructions for most kits. It's going to be adding the pouch, adding a kilo of the brewing sugar, some hot water to mix it all up, and then bringing it up with some cold water to 23 litres. I'll film a little bit of it because there's really not much to show other than adding it all to the bucket. Then after that it's going to be a review of the actual beer itself. I think it's quite good that everything comes in the packet itself, other than the brewing sugar, which you need to purchase separately, which is fair enough. Everything else is in that kind of little package, which is quite neat, I think. I've used that cider yeast before and it's a pretty good use, so I'm looking forward to the results on this. There are 8 different ones you can get in the range. There's apple, pear, strawberry and pear, mixed berry, passion and peach, raspberry and mango, blueberry and raspberry and lime. And I have to admit, if this one pans out to be quite good, I'll probably go for a couple of them. I'm hoping this will be just ready in time after our next child arrives and my wife can actually drink some with me as well, so I haven't got to drink it all to myself. It does say that the one we've got here, which is the strawberry and pear, should be fermenting down to about 10007. So just reading a bit more instructions. Yeah, pretty standard. Leave to ferment 20 to 25 degrees after 6 days, and the airlock has stopped bubbling. Once fermentation is complete, add the cider essence into the fermenter and stir well with a sterilised spoon. And that's it. And the sweetener goes in. Yeah, so your sweetener goes in. Obviously your yeast, once everything's mixed in, it's that goes in at the end, the cider essence. But the sweetener goes in at the start. I'm not sure how much I'm going to do. If I do dry is do not add the sachet, off dry is half, and sweet is the full sachet. I might go half, I think. I'm not hoping for something too sweet, so I'm going to go half of the sachet in this one. So that's it. I'll cut back to me pouring the bits in, and then there'll be a final review once the cider's ready to go. Cheers. Right, so we're ready to add the contents of the pouch. Just going to pour into the fermenter, which has been thoroughly cleaned and sterilised. I've got to admit, it smells pretty good already. I love the fact that it's already ready to pour straight in. There's kind of no warming of a can or anything like that, or having to kind of, I mean, you could, I guess, add a little bit of liquid to the bag because it stands up quite well to rinse it out. I may even do that with some cold water at the end, but most of it seems to be coming out quite freely. Right, we'll rinse that at the end. Next, we're going to add 3 litres of hot water. and then our kilo of brewing sugar, which I'm going to whisk in as I go. I've got a plastic whisk so it doesn't scratch the bottom of the fermenter. You could use a long spoon, anything like that, or a brewing paddle, whatever you have. You just don't want any of this being in big lumps at the bottom where it's not going to ferment out properly. That's it. I'm going to top this up to 23 litres and then we'll cut back at the end because, to be honest, it's just going to be me filling it up with water. Right, so we've topped it up to 23 litres, and if I'm honest, I normally use a jug or a hose to the tap to fill it up, but what I just used was the bag that the liquid came in. Really, it was quite sturdy. Once it's filled up with water, it stands up on its own and it manages to rinse out all of the apple extract straight into the fermenter, which is ideal. Next, all we've got to do is add our yeast and our sweetener packet. I'm only adding half of the sweetener packet because I'm going to go for the off dry, and you've got to add all the yeast. Obviously, what I would recommend is getting your paddle, your spoon, and giving it a good whisk to aerate the apple juice to kind of give the yeast a good chance of kicking off. So we'll add half of this. That's about right. A little bit more there. And then all of our yeast just sprinkled on. You could rehydrate that, I guess, but I'm just going to go with sprinkling it on. I've never had an issue with the Mangrove Jack's yeast not kicking off. I tend to just sprinkle them on now. You know, it's just an extra step that's possibly not needed. This is the one that you don't add yet. This is the essence, the strawberry and pear cider flavouring. This is going to be added towards the end, so that's one to hold back. Make sure you don't add that in with your kit. Obviously it's not going to turn out right if you don't follow the instructions. The only other thing you could possibly do is to make sure that your bucket is calibrated. Measure the increments with a jug that you know is a litre and work them out. Otherwise, if it's filled up with too much water or too less, you're not going to get the right ABV of what the cider is meant to turn out to. So that's all that's left to do, other than seal it up, put an airlock on it and leave it be for now, and then we'll cut back to the final tasting. Cheers. It's review time of the Munson's Craft Cider Pouch Kit. As you know, we got the strawberry and pear kit. We're going to crack it open and give it a try. Now, I'm not sure what the carbonation can be like. I did bottle some in plastic bottles and some in some really strong glass bottles, mainly due to worrying about the carbonation issues. Sometimes my beers or ciders end up going quite carbonated, but there wasn't much of a fizz on that at all. It has been in the fridge quite a while, and there's no widget in this glass either. So, but with cider, you can have it still or fizzy, so it's not really an issue. So look, it's reasonably clear actually. There's a little bit of haze there. It might just be the cold maybe. Right, let's have a... It smells cidery. I don't know what else I can say. I'm going to dive in. Now unfortunately today is quite a miserable day outside. It's pouring down with rain. And cider for me is kind of a bit of a summer's drink. It's kind of, you need that really hot day to enjoy it. But I have to say, for something that's come out of a pouch in terms of kind of a homebrew kit, that's a pretty damn good tasting cider. I kind of went with on the sweetness, kind of, I think I used half the packet. I'm not really sure I get a lot of pear and strawberry taste for it. What did concern me with the kit was you get this kind of little essence, I guess, or kind of the bit you put at the end. You ferment it out. I think I left mine for about 2.5 weeks so it was fully fermented out. I always like to make sure with kits, just to make sure it's reached its peak. And then you add the kind of little flavouring pouch you get with it, which just looks like a strawberry kind of syrup, I guess. Stir it through with a sterilised spoon, leave it for another 24 hours to settle out, and then bottle. But at first I thought when I got that pouch it was going to add quite a synthetic kind of sweetness to it. There's a lot of commercial ciders out there for sure that kind of taste really kind of like sickly sweetness, and they're horrible. You know, the flavour is there, but it comes through almost like as a fake flavour rather than a natural flavour. And I have to say, there's none of that in this. It has surprised me. I did think there was going to be a little bit of a kind of a weird kind of, you know, a flavouring type flavour rather than a natural flavour. It's pretty damn good. Like I say, I don't think I get a whole heap of strawberry or pear, but it's definitely kind of, it's not your standard apple cider. There's something extra added to it. I would say if it's going on one of the two, it's more the pear than the strawberry I'm getting, I would say. And it's almost got a little bit of a tinge to it, I'd say, rather than it being it's virgin on the cider being like a pinky green rather than kind of, not pinky green, kind of like, rather than being like a see-through kind of, it's got a tinge, like a pink tinge to it, almost like a hue. It's like that kind of dark amber to kind of rosy type colour. Maybe could have done with a bit more carbonation on my part, but in terms of flavour, it's pretty good actually. I did think it'd be quite a, you know, kind of a fake taste to it kind of thing with the additive, but it's bang on. I love with the pouch that everything's in it. I was concerned at first that there wasn't, where was the yeast and that. You cut it open, obviously, as you've seen in the video. Half is your ingredients, half is the liquid kind of apple. Yeah, fantastic. This kind of probably I would probably say my first cider kit. And most of my ciders I've done have been ones I've brewed on myself, kind of, you know, like the turbo ciders, if you like. But as cider kits go, this is kind of for me personally, I'm not having had many others, the premium one so far is absolutely fantastic in taste. The Mangrove Jack's range in terms of what they produced and yeast and kind of, you know, kits and that are really kind of right up there in terms of kits. So if you like a good cider and you fancy giving one of these a go, I think there's about 8 flavours in the range. Ranging from probably, I think it's just your traditional apple all the way through to kind of, I think there was a blueberry one as well, which I've quite fancied. Yeah, absolutely fantastic. That is spot on. I'd challenge most people actually, if you had this in a bottle that was it, or you know, you put it in a commercial bottle and gave it to someone and said, drink that, they would know no different. They wouldn't know that you'd kind of, I mean, the kit probably takes, you know, it took me slightly longer with filming and whatnot, but you can get it done within kind of 20 minutes to half an hour at the most. You know, as long as you clean your bucket and sterilise it, make sure it's all clean, you're literally adding the ingredients, water, the yeast, it's simple as anything. And to make, you know, 23 litres of something as great tasting as this, you can't complain. So I've got to give that a 10 out of 10 for this kit. It's absolutely fantastic. That is damn good. But dangerous. I reckon you get through a few of them before you realise you was in trouble. Very tasty. So it's been Mangrove Jack's apple and pear cider pouch kit. Top drawer. Fantastic. I wholeheartedly recommend it. Cheers.